welcome to Geek Weekly, your digital newsletter for everything Geek Speak.
What are we talking about this week, Chet?
Oh, Jeremy, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. This is actually a very exciting episode. I'm very excited about this one.
I know, you seemed pretty excited last night, I'll tell you that.
No, I am super excited. We have so much to talk about. I have so much that I come up with. I felt like the last episode I felt like I had not as much to talk about. But
yeah, we were a little off topic last time. Off topic. That's all right. That's all
right.
Yeah,
I felt
like it was kind of a rough week for you. People forgave you, though.
Yeah, okay. So that's the good thing. So one thing I wanted to say is that we have your brother here.
Yeah, we've got a guest speaker tonight.
Guest speaker.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, we're very, very excited to have him come in because we're going to be talking about quite a few different things. We're going to have Star Wars. We're going to talk about the top six.
Star Wars.
Obviously, all six Star Wars movies. We're going to go through like what our favorite parts are, bad parts, all that kind of stuff. Go through all the Star Wars movies. We're also going to be talking about The Walking Dead. Finally, we've been wanting to talk about this
It's
forever.
about time, bro. Seriously.
Yep. And then we're also, and I'm going to just tell you right now, we're actually splitting this podcast up into two parts. We're going to be
two parts.
Yep. Be recording.
The whole thing.
The whole thing tonight.
In one shot.
And then do one this week, and then the next episode will come out
the next week.
So that
we
way...
figure this way we can do a longer podcast, right?
Yeah.
And then we can also give you guys something every week instead of bi-weekly. So you guys get it all. So.
Yeah, it's really nice. And that you guys don't have to... You know what? It would be nice for you guys because you don't have to do it all at one sitting. You guys can enjoy yourselves, but we can also enjoy...
Yeah, because some of the feedback we've gotten is that people tend to like it around the 45-minute mark. Mm-hmm. And we usually go clear past the hour. So we figured, you know what, we still like to talk to each other. We love hanging out, so we're going to still do our...
We've been cutting it down lately. Every time we've been getting it, cut it down.
But do we really want to cut it down?
We did over 2 hours the first time, 1.5 hours the second time, and then an hour and 10 minutes.
We've kind of sat at the 1:15, though. The 1:15, 1:10, though.
Yeah, for a while.
So what we figure is this way we can kind of talk freely. You guys will get everything that we want to talk about. You guys are going to be able to hear us.
Yeah.
You know, and then on top of that... you'll get a podcast every week. And
you
guys will get your 45-minute cut, and we'll be happy, too. That's the way to go.
Okay, so we have our first thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about our update on life. So here we go. All right, so before we actually go on to your updates and talk with your brother a little bit, before we do that, I actually, because it is Christmas, I did have your Christmas presents. I know, I'm horrible.
Come on, man! I don't need any more gifts.
This one, I want to make sure that I give this one to you now.
Did you actually get this?
What?
Is this what I think it is?
Do you know what it is?
I don't know. Is this thing you've been talking about for a while?
No, I did not actually get that.
Get that.
It says 80s tease on the bag, so I could only imagine what it could possibly be.
Right? It's the most amazing thing you'll ever see in your life.
I will be wearing this on Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to have to get a picture of this to show. Dude, that is awesome.
Yep.
I'm going to wear this in the summertime.
It's amazing. It's an awesome... I had to get it for you.
Right? Dude, where did you see this? Where did you find this?
I got it at 80stees.com.
So for anybody that doesn't know, it is a sweatshirt, a Christmas sweatshirt with the Ninja Turtles all wearing Santa hats.
Yeah.
And it's the 90s
Turtles. It will go very well...
Oh my god, dude.
With your...
Oh! Look at those!
Look at those, my friend.
They made tiny Beanie Babies from
Ninja. And I knew you needed to have them because you know how nice the Beanie Babies are?
Look at that, you even get to double up on Leonardo.
The cool thing... Oh no, I gave the wrong one.
Dun.
Oh well. You can return it and get the other one.
Okay. Where do you even get these? I've never even seen
Newberry
these.
Comics. I saw them
at Noobs.
I saw them at Newberry Comics.
Nice.
Yep. And you know what's cool is that no matter how you throw them, they're always going to land.
They're always heads up.
They're always heads up
because they have the weight in the bottom.
Because they have the weight on the bottom, so they always land on their feet.
Dude, if they were really this fat in real life, though, they would never be ninja kicking anybody.
No, I can't believe I got the wrong one. That sucks.
Pizza.
That's all right, dude. This is all good.
Let's go fight crime, guys.
No
more pizza.
We're gonna swap out. Bam. Dude, you know what? They're actually giving out the Ninja Turtle toys from McDonald's right now?
I did not know that.
They're skateboarders.
Are you getting them?
Yeah, I got 2 of them so far. That's all they had.
You have to get the other ones?
Yeah, I got
Did
Raph
you go up
and
to
Leo,
them and be like, can I just pay you for them?
I actually did.
Toys
I was like, what do you have?
Nickelodeon series, right?
Yeah, they are. They're based on the new Nickelodeon series.
Yeah. Do you like the Nickelodeon series? Is that good?
I've only watched the first 6 or 7 episodes, but it was good. It sort of takes... My favorite series out of the whole cartoon series is the one that came out in the early 2000s. It was just... It was very reminiscent of the 80s comic book, sort of darker series. Not a whole lot of comedy, more action-based, and I really liked that.
Yeah.
I really felt like they were Ninja Turtles as opposed to just kind of goofballs. This new series is sort of a cross between that series and then the series in the 90s, because they're really just a couple of young kids. They're really teenagers in this series. You can feel that they're teenagers.
They don't have as much of adult...
Yeah, they don't have as much adult content in it, definitely.
Yeah.
But there are some really, really good scenes, and there's some really cool characters in it. So
I've heard
a
lot of mixed reviews about this new Nickelodeon series, but what I like about it is it's brought the Ninja Turtles more into the mainstream. Like, you can't walk into a store now without seeing Ninja Turtles.
It really did bring them back because they haven't been back full throttle since the 90s, so it's been really nice to have them.
Which is awesome, because everybody should love it.
I mean, they had their own huge little spot in the New York Comic Con.
Yeah, they really did.
It was massive.
Really?
Yeah, dude. And they actually had a tower for each one, it was like a big ooze canister, and inside were all the old toys from the 90s, and there was 8 of them.
Oh, wow.
And they were 3 stories tall. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so badass.
All right, so now we're going to get on to your brother, who's been speaking up a little bit, which is great. I'm glad you're not, just standing back.
What's going on, guys? I'm all you fans out there, Geek Weekly. My name's Joey. I'm Jeremy's little brother. I've known him for going on 23, almost 24 years now.
You're only 23?
I'm only 23.
That's how well I know my brother.
Wow, that's great, Jeremy. And you know what's funny, actually, is that I met Jeremy and Joey around the same time, but in 2 different places, not knowing that they were even related.
Right. 2 different places and the same place.
Yes, because I know Joey from going to college with him. We actually had a theater class together. Was it improv?
Was it theater? I thought it was.
Oh,
was it speech?
Oh, was it...
No, it wasn't speech.
It was a lit class.
It was an English comp too.
Yes, because
I showed up for about 2 weeks of that class, stopped showing up. I came in next semester and found out I got a B+ somehow.
Yeah, nice.
I didn't do any work at all, and I got a B+.
Awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm so jealous right now.
So that's how I met you, and I met Jeremy at. If you guys don't know this, I actually met him at Uno's. We were working at Uno's.
Yep.
He was like a semi-manager at the time. He was a manager. He was an actual manager once I left.
Yep. Trying to move up in that class.
Right, and then it wasn't until Jeremy and I reconnected about a year ago.
Yep.
I went to his house
year
party.
And a half now.
Yeah, about a year and a half now.
No, we came here. I came here. We just hung out here. You played Minecraft.
Yeah, it was good.
Still remember that night.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm at a house party at Jeremy's house, and Joey walks in, and I go, "Dude, how are you?" And he's like, "Good. I haven't seen you in forever. Wow, oh my God, I remember you. You went to Middlesex, right?" Yeah. We were talking, whatever. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Yeah, I'm Jeremy's brother." I was like, "What?" Like, that's crazy.
And we were talking about, you're like, well, you remember that time that you used to work at Uno's and I used to work at Uno's? We were sitting around the table. We were like, holy crap, it's a small world. Yeah. So that's where the different places and the same place come from.
Yeah, it's crazy how those things kind of happen. All right, so, did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself at all, or is there anything you wanted to...
Yes, for all you guys out there who don't know, my name's, or my birth name would be Joseph Mullett, but I'm a independent professional wrestler. I wrestle all around the New England area as a French-Canadian named Mi'chael Mullett. Right now, I am the current tag team champion for both Atlantic Pro Wrestling out of Newbury and Victory Championship Wrestling out of Wakefield. That is with my tag team partner, the fitness man Dan Terry. And... I've been getting around a little bit. I've been training for about 2 or 3 years now. My brother's been doing this podcast for a little while, and I listened to the last episode, and I was like, "Hey, Jay, I want to be on this podcast." He's like, "All right, I'm coming to pick you up. Let's do this."
I actually have a feeling that you read the post I put up earlier today about the Star Wars, and you're like, "I'm in."
Yep.
You knew that you had to do.
It was like 2 minutes after that. Joe was like,
you haven't heard
for the podcast.
You haven't listened to any of the episodes, right?
No, the most recent episode where you guys are talking about my favorite part of the last episode is you guys are talking about Christmas movies, and then Jeremy's like, "You know what my favorite Christmas movie is? It's not really a Christmas movie. It's gotta be Gremlins."
I was like,
they're wearing Santa hats. It has almost nothing to do with Christmas, but I love Gremlins.
I know.
Her dad dies in a chimney, and it's just like, whoa, okay. I guess that's your favorite Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie.
It's not
Jingle
really
All the Way is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. No question.
Okay.
But Gremlins is definitely a close second.
I couldn't believe that you put that in there, because I was just like, that's crazy. Because
most people don't think of it that way, but it is. It's a Christmas movie.
Okay, well, as long as you think so, that's fine.
No, it is 100% a Christmas movie.
Okay,
It
so...
isn't, but I'll give you that one.
You're wrong. All right, we need to move on.
All right. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go into our top 6. Top 6. So you guys excited about the top 6? Yeah, no,
yes!
This is the only reason that Joey is here today.
Bum, 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 da, 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 da. Nice. All right. That was fun. So we're going to Star Wars.
So that was like a little Star Wars quartet going on. Little Star Wars barbershop.
I think with some work, we could actually do pretty well with that.
Yeah.
So go on the road with this.
I'll take the tenor. You can take lead, and he'll take the baritone, which is the hardest to sing. So I'm giving you a lot of pressure there.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I can sing deep. I can't sing loud, so that'll work.
Do you want the bass, or do you want the... Because like, baritone is like in between.
Sing like this.
Okay, so you're a baritone.
Okay, that sounds good.
Because you could barely get down there. I mean,
I can barely get down there.
So yeah, you're a baritone. Okay. You're in between a tenor and a bass.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So anyways...
as a lead. But I think that Brendan would be good as a lead, because he's... Brendan's upstairs.
Yeah, he just left us tonight.
Yeah, no, well, his father made him dinner, so...
Ah, nice.
He's having
Smells
dinner.
good. Smells good.
Yeah, alright, so top 6, Star Wars. Okay, top 6. No, top 6. That's like, you know what, we should do the intro like that. Just be like, top 6. Top 6. Top 6.
Star Wars movies, yeah!
I think that would be a really interesting... You know, like how they do that stuff in radio, or they always do like a little... Like transitions like that?
Yep. It's usually with like different people, though. We would just be making our own voices.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird. You know what? We'll scratch it. Yeah. All right.
Well, we'll see how people like it. We just did one, so we'll see how they like it.
Okay, so we're kind of doing a top 6 on this, but we're kind of just kind of going through all the Star Wars movies, obviously.
It's a top 6. It's more just a
So let's go through our least
time.
favorite. Now, can we all agree that our least favorite is Episode 1?
Episode 1 is probably the worst of the films.
Yeah.
The only saving grace that Episode 1 has, in my opinion, is the pod race and the lightsaber battle at the end. Everything else about that movie with Darth Maul is just not great.
And everyone, and it's so funny because it came out when I was pretty young. I think it came out when I was
99. It came out
99. I thought it was like 01 or something.
I felt like I was around like
1 was the next one.
I felt like
9 years old at the time. Episode 3.
Yeah, I feel like I was around like 10ish when it came out. No, I liked Jar Jar Binks. When I was a kid, I loved the first movie. It was one of my favorite movies. And then when I got older, I was like, "This movie is not." Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm in the same breath. I'm in the same breath with you because I remember seeing that in the theaters, and our stepfather had taken us, and I remember it very well. And I remember liking that whole movie, thinking it was great. And then I went back and I watched it a couple of years later, and it was still okay. You know, Jar Jar didn't bother me as much. And then I went back and I watched it more in my adulthood, and that was where I'm finally like, "Wow, he really is ruining this film," because they take like this really serious moment. And then they throw Jar Jar in, and he's just like, he's such an idiot, he's a goofball. It's like, dude, what are you doing? You're ruining the whole plot. Like,
the Empire is going to shut down, but Misa thinks that's okay.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, it really was. Now, the reason was that originally they wanted to make the Star Wars movies more kid-friendly than what they were, because kids were still into the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And they also wanted to bring kids that weren't into the original trilogy into the new trilogy, so Star Wars would become... a franchise, a bigger franchise than it already was, kind of adding in the new people.
If you remember, before they did Episode 1, like the year or two prior to that, 97 or 98, they released the entire trilogy in the theaters again.
And it was a great move, because I went to go...
Now, that was the first time I saw the series.
Really?
Really. So, I was one of the people that got introduced to that series at that age.
See, I watched them because one of my family friends... You know how, like, really your only friends outside of school were family friends that would come over? Well, those are the people... I watched the first 3 movies with them, episodes 4 through 6, and I was like, oh, man, these are really awesome. And then when they came into theaters, I had to go see them because I knew, even as a kid, I knew, if I don't see these in the theater, I'm not going to be able to say...
You're going to regret it for the rest of your life.
Because it's not... It's like, dude, guess what? I saw the original Star Wars trilogy in theaters.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. Yeah. Who gets to say
wait,
that?
You weren't born in 1978. How the hell did you do that?
Yeah. Actually, my kids will probably be going, well, that's no surprise. You probably were born in 1950. I'm sure that's what they'll be saying.
Right, at that point.
Because you know what? Oh, and I'm going to mention this really quick, and then we're going to move on to the next movie. But you know what sucks about being born in the 1900s? Is that now that we're in the 2000s, our kids are going to be like, dude, you guys are old. You were born in the 1900s.
Yeah, I know,
and
right?
because we're so close to other people that are born in, like, the year 2000 and on, like, when we get older, they're going to be like, oh, my God, you were in, like, a whole different millennium.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's when you'd be like, damn straight I was. You don't know.
I am a wise
You don't know what it's like
man.
to live without a cell phone. That's going to be our up the hill 2 ways. You don't know what it's like to live without a cell phone or Wi-Fi.
You want to know how it was to have you got mail?
Or the dial tone.
The dial tone.
Yeah.
We had to use, if you used the internet, you were not allowed to use the phone at the same time.
Yeah, right?
Your mom would kick you off, and I
also remember that using the internet back then, trying desperately to watch porn back then.
Oh, yeah. It was
and
horrible.
when it first started out, dude, it was bad. Our desktop was in our kitchen, and it was the only computer in the house.
Oh,
so I'd be like, ooh, booby. Okay, I gotta change my.
Everybody would be out of the house, and then you just watch it, but it would be on dial-up, so it would be like, and then you'd be like, shit, up, I think that's a boop.
So
oh wait, maybe
back
not.
to Star Wars. Here's what I think we should do for this structure. Okay, name the best thing about the movie and the worst, in your opinion.
Okay.
You can only pick one thing.
Okay, so we're already on episode 1. Still.
Episode 1.
We're still on episode because he already told his. He kind of gave 2, but we'll let him go.
2. Yep.
I have to say, would definitely be
best part.
My favorite part in the whole movie was Obi-Wan's caregiver. Not caregiver, but like his sensei.
Qui-Gon?
Qui-Gon
Jinn?
Thank you.
Okay.
I loved him. I thought he was a great addition to the movie. Yep.
Okay. What specifically, what scene do you think was probably your favorite that he was in? It was just sort of the overall breadth.
He was like, fuck you, Yoda, I'm gonna
love that
teach this guy.
It's kind of funny because he's the one that brought in Anakin to begin with.
Yep.
You know, and I really thought that was really cool. I really loved that part.
It almost seems that
Obi-Wan
didn't really want Anakin, but
Obi-Wan
since
didn't want
Qui-Gon
him.
died, it's like he was pushed into it, and since Qui-Gon was his sensei, and he asked him to train Anakin, he's like, it's like, oh, well, this is my debt to my fallen brethren, so I might as well do this.
Yeah, I agree.
So what was the worst part?
Worst part was, Jar Jar. By far, now it was Jar Jar.
I think we're all unanimous on that one.
But I think it was also just his whole clan in general.
For me, it was a specific scene. And I'll go into mine after you, but...
I just think that in general, I didn't like that clan. I did love that battle, though. I thought the battle was really cool with because it was the first time that you ever got to see the shields going around and stuff like that, and the riding on those animals. I thought that was actually really cool, so I did love that. Yeah.
So with me, the best part, there are really 2 things, and it's the same with Joey. I think that the best part of that movie is probably the pod race, hands down. I love that scene. It's very thrilling. My brother and I watched the entire series front to back at my house a few months ago when I had those 12-inch subwoofers, and that scene just blew my house apart. It was insane when they got the pod race and it just lights up and just those engines roaring. And it
was like IMAX in your living room.
Oh man, it was so awesome. And I remember that scene, just that racing canyon scene. It's so good, and that's hands down my favorite.
Can we talk about that the only game that came out of that movie was the pod racing game for the 64 system. It was amazing.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was a great racing.
It was a great, and I love that you had to earn all the characters and and Anakin was obviously
and you had to keep upgrading. You had to keep upgrading because you couldn't
put
stay.
On cheat codes to get the retro thing, so you can fly like an X-wing and you can use Darth Vader's TIE fighter.
Yeah, there was some I love that one of the courses was inch for inch the actual movie scene that you saw.
Yep.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that was the first course.
I love
which
that.
is supposed to be the easiest course, so to speak.
Yeah.
But in the movie, it's such an intense race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just that whole scene, where the engine falls off, the engine starts to break down, and he starts breaking. It's just such a great scene. My least favorite, and you and I are going to disagree on this, the Gungan battle. I thought it was the worst piece of trash in the entire series, and I will tell you why. It's because of Jar Jar. In that movie, I actually like the guys. I like the idea.
This and I
get so angry watching this because everything that Jar Jar does, he messes up. Every time he does something in that battle, he screws up royally.
And
he trips over
and then
things.
He ends up getting a medal and all that shit at the end.
No, and his mess ups are what saved the goddamn battle. Every time he trips over something, he's suddenly, now I'm going to unleash all these balls, and they're going to that's what's going to cure us of all these droids. It's like, come on, man, really? This dude's a messed up. And you guys are awarding him to General. It makes me so angry.
But it's so funny because when we were kids, we loved him. I was actually really pissed when the second episode came out, and he wasn't even in
as
it
much. No, see, by that time it already.
And I was like, he wasn't even in the third one, was he? Like he might have been in the background.
He makes a cameo appearance, if that. He just shows up.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a line.
Yeah, and but now that we've talked about the second episode, let's go on to
the second one.
What? You know what? Let's not do top 6. Let's just go on to the second episode.
Yeah, we'll go to the second.
All right. So I'm gonna start first because I don't want anybody to steal this. My favorite freaking part of this was when Yoda started fighting.
Yes.
Yep. And like you remember the trailer, everyone just like even in the movie theater. I remember being in the movie theater, and everyone got up and started clapping.
I just remember the gasp. It was like everyone in the whole movie.
All of a sudden, he pulls out a lightsaber,
and it's just
and
the
you're
way
like,
he does it too.
Yes.
He doesn't even like go reach it and grab it. He literally puts his hand out, and the friggin' thing force lifts into his hand.
Yeah,
and you're like, it is on.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Awesome.
So
incredible.
Yeah.
So good. Everybody at that point was waiting for Yoda to do something because in the first series he's just a puppet or a muppet, if you will, and then he's more computer animated in the new series. In the first one, he just talks and talks and talks.
He's still a puppet.
And then you get to the second movie and he's in the. I don't remember where he is with Dooku, but he's just like shing, and you're like, oh my god!
And I think my most unfavorite part in that movie, oh man, would probably be Anakin.
As a whole.
Okay. He was such a...
The character could have been so much better than it was. Anakin, in that second movie...
I have to say, and I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Go ahead.
But I feel that, for me, I loved the beginning when you see Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship as a friendship. Yeah. And I loved that. And I think... Okay, so what I really hated about this movie was not Anakin. It was that Anakin was alone without Obi-Wan for most of the movie.
That's in both films, too.
And because I really felt wonderful when I saw Obi-Wan and Anakin together. Yeah. And that's all I have to say about that. If you guys want to say anything, you can, or we can just move on.
We can move on. So, I think we're all pretty much unanimous about that Yoda fight. That's probably one of the best scenes in the movie.
Oh, it was awesome.
The other scene, though, if I had to pick another scene, would be the fight between Obi-Wan and Jango Fett on the clone planet there.
Agreed.
That was amazing. It was done in the rain. It's just so well done, and just
and
the whole fight.
It wasn't that long, but it was just great.
Yeah, it's not even that long. It's just like kind of a quick
and it really
battle,
shows you why Boba Fett became the way that he is, because he watched his father get murdered by the Jedi.
I think
that wasn't in that scene, though. That was a later scene.
I think
it does show you the potential of Boba Fett. You can see why he may become a bounty hunter.
I think as a whole, and I actually kind of want to replace mine a little bit and just say that, like, I think the best part of the movie was that you got to find out where all the stormtroopers came from. I think that story was really...
Clone troopers, not stormtroopers.
Well, right, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Because by the time you watch episode 4, there's no clone troopers left. They're all dead.
Right. But I just thought that was really cool.
That was definitely
they age at the accelerated rate.
Yeah.
I love that.
Plus at that point. So.
I love that. I really did.
It was a very, very well done, very cool scene. Just that whole thing.
And then they even made a cartoon series out of it.
Yeah, the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
and the Clone Wars was where you really got to see what Anakin was and why people thought that he was such a great warrior and all that.
I think I agree with you on this, in that the fact the Anakin character in like the cartoon is a much better character.
Yeah, he's just
than
more well developed, and he's
Hayden
just better.
Christensen plays. Like, he's a leader. He's all like
he's
I don't remember what his
he's not as conflicted, name is.
Right? Right. He's not as conflicted. Exactly. He makes the right decision. Yeah, he really is. He becomes the warrior he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
The worst part in that movie, for me, and it's more because it's just not very well acted, and it's that scene where Anakin takes out he goes out and he gets his mother on Tatooine, and he's got all the Tusken Raiders or whatever they are. You know what I'm saying? He's got all them, and he takes out that tribe because his mother got raped and killed and shit.
That was
just
so
that whole scene. It was very sad, but I didn't feel the pain because it wasn't very well acted to me. He just very plain.
I was almost in tears in that because I just felt really bad because it was nice that the mother came back, like the original mom was there, and then all of a sudden she was only there for 3 seconds, and all of a sudden she was dead. I was just like, oh my god, because you just think about when he was a little kid, and then he hasn't seen her since then, and it broke my heart.
The scene itself is a good scene. It's just, to me, it wasn't very well acted. You know what I mean? I didn't feel for the character. as much.
I feel that whole movie is more geared toward the relationship between Queen Amidala, Padme, and Anakin than it is almost anything else.
And that, to me, I felt that whole story with all 3 episodes were very cheesy.
Yeah,
and overly cheesy in a bad way. It made Anakin seem
in a different way.
But maybe they were supposed to be that way because Anakin was very immature for his age.
He was supposed to be flawed, because he wasn't taken until he was 9 or 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, he already has all of his moral issues and all that stuff. I don't know if that's supposed to be portrayed that way, or if it's
watching
just
the series
bad
wrong.
acting.
It's because technically, yes, it's Anakin's story through the trilogy, right? But the person you really need to watch through episode 1, 2, and 3 is Palpatine. You need to watch the moves he makes. He's like an expert chess player, and all he does, everything he does through the entire series, is pinging him towards becoming Emperor.
Yep.
And he knows every move he makes. He's playing both sides to his liking, and he's the most interesting character in that series, hands down.
So now we've kind of all talked about this. Where would we place this in our 6?
Top 6, it would probably be 5th for me.
For you, 5th. Wow, in 5th place. What about you, buddy?
I'm gonna go number 2. I'm gonna go 4.
Really, number 4?
I'm gonna go 4.
Because for me, I would have said my second favorite.
Really? Out of the whole series?
Yeah. For me, I really like it.
All right.
I really do.
That's fair.
Okay?
That's fair.
All right, so now we're going to episode 3.
Yes!
All right, so Joey seems to be excited, so let him go.
Number 1.
Let him start.
I'll start with my absolute favorite scene from that movie is at the end. It is the absolute 100% hands down best lightsaber fight in all 6 movies is Anakin versus Obi-Wan, because they're going through the whole lava planet. I don't remember what it's called, and they're jumping over each other. They're flying on things. Things are getting burnt up, and it's just boom, boom, boom. And like I said, we had that huge marathon, and I'm just sitting there, and you could feel every time the lightsabers hit. It's like, ding, ding, and you're sitting in your chair like,
that house back. Oh, we didn't do the updates. We'll get there later.
Okay.
We'll get there afterwards.
We'll do it on the second part.
We'll do it on the
part 2.
The second part.
Part 2. Jeremy's updates.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But when I get the house back, what I'll do is I'll set up the same sound system, and we will walk. We're gonna do another round of that. Because it was awesome. I'll probably do that once a year.
Well, see, for me, I do it once a year. This is really quick. Star Wars trilogy once a year during a snowstorm. I watch 1 through 6, and I watch all the bonus features. Depending on what I have.
The bonus features? Like 35 hours of bonus features.
Yeah. No, I sit and I will call out of work and finish.
Wow.
You think I'm joking, I'm not.
That's like
you're
intense Star Wars right there.
50.
So anybody else on episode 3?
Your least favorite part?
My least favorite part of episode 3, I would have to say the relationship between Padme and Anakin. As Chad said, it's a little too cheesy, and she's all like,
there's no chemistry between the actors.
It felt like a soap opera.
It felt too soapish. It was too campy to be like, oh, I feel so bad for Padme. She just had her heart broken, but then
he doesn't feel anything really
I know,
for it.
Just,
I felt like
it was supposed to be dark at that point, but it's.
I felt like his decision to become evil was way too quick. Yeah. Like, you see a little bit of it in episode 2, but all of a sudden he was like, good, and then all of a sudden he's like, F you, and then he kills
younglings.
Yeah.
He goes, it's so weird. So it's my favorite... Fast.
No, I was actually going to ask, I think we should pick one person for each movie to do a favorite and best.
Favorite and best? Okay.
Favorite and best, just because, just for time reasons.
On the worst part of that movie, by the way, is that transformation from good to evil, because it happens too fast. Yep. There's no freaking way that some Jedi goes from being semi torn apart, maybe thinking, okay, maybe the Jedi are not the right way. He's maybe considering that for 10 minutes out of the film. He kills Mace Windu, and now all of a sudden he's so evil he can kill children. That should not have happened.
It just becomes. It's like
a huge plot.
Just because we know that he becomes evil in the first trilogy, I feel like it was just like, okay, well now I'm evil.
He had to rush it because George Lucas took so much time with the first 2 movies. And there's really nothing relating to the first 2 movies. I mean, it's nice to get that Clone Wars part in. It's like to see that, the breadth of that.
But I think overall, that in general, that it should have been all about Anakin more than it should have been about anything else.
Yeah.
and I think that that's not what happened, is that it really geared off of Anakin until the last movie. So now going on to the original trilogy. We're on episode... Oh, wait. Before we go on that, episode 3. Ranks for me, it would have to be 5.
Really? That's really low.
All right.
5, but not 6.
Number 1!
Number 1 for you, buddy.
Actually, not that surprised.
Love it.
For me, it would probably be 3rd.
3rd?
3rd best, yeah.
Okay. Episode 4. New Hope.
New Hope.
Yeah, anybody?
I just want to say, this one, I know that it may not be the best of the whole movies, but this movie is what made me a fan of Star Wars.
No, you already went, so you get to do your favorite.
Okay, so my favorite and least favorite. The favorite scene in this movie is obviously, again, it's got to be towards the end, that Death Star, that fight where he's like in the Death Star and he's going running down the runway there. That's such an intense scene. And I remember seeing this movie, and I remember going into the theater and not knowing what I was going to see. I remember having no clue what the hell Star Wars was.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting down and watching this one movie. In my life, I've never had this happen with another movie. My whole freaking life was changed that day. And it was because of this movie. Hands down, one of the best scenes is definitely that runway scene at the end. And then as time's going on, by the way, my favorite character, obviously, to start was Luke Skywalker. But as I've grown up and as I've sort of become more my own, I've really started to like Han Solo more and more and more. And every time I watch him, I'm like, wow, I really, really like Han Solo.
His character development is really nice, too. Yeah. It's a little, like, it doesn't end greatly, but I feel like if there were more movies, it would have...
Oh, when there are more movies.
When there... Well, yeah, I guess when there are more movies.
Han Solo is more of like the everyman that everybody can relate to. Like, because he starts out
He's not the hero, he's not the damsel in distress, he's not the evil villain.
He's just,
he's somewhere in between.
He's the
most down-to-earth, real person that there is in the story.
He doesn't develop any freaking powers or anything like that. He's literally, he's good with a blaster, and he's got his own ship, and that's about the breadth of him. So
what? The Winterfest? You like it, right?
That was right. I know.
You just tried it for the first time.
I just took a sip and I went, "Oh wow!"
What is this thing called?
It's really good. White
Christmas. Yeah, White Christmas.
That's sorry to be off topic, guys.
Well, because I brought two types. I brought the cherry wheat and White Christmas, both Sam Adams, and now we just tried White Christmas because he was kind of scared on White Christmas, but now he's happy with it.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad about. All right, so
other than that, let's talk worst part of that film. Nothing. So let's move on.
For me, is number 5.
Really?
I don't know.
It's number 2 for me.
What do you have a worst? Okay, just go on to what was the worst scene for you? What was the worst part about the movie?
I can't pick out a specific scene, but I feel.
Give us the reason why.
I feel as though it's too slow. You know what I mean?
So
besides like the Death Star or the Death Star blowing up. If I know that it's a lot of origin stuff and it's George Lucas's first movie and he's trying to explain a lot of stuff.
This was his introduction to Star Wars.
Yeah.
What was also great about this film, by the way, this was the first sci-fi series to show a lived-in universe. What I mean by that is when you were watching Star Trek in the 60s and things like that, all the suits were always so clean and so neat, and everything was always so pristine because this was the future. George Lucas was a person to say, no. Just because we're in the future, just because we're in a sci-fi world, doesn't mean that things don't break down. Doesn't mean that things don't get dents in them.
Yeah.
So, like when you're introduced to C-3PO and R2-D2, they're torn apart. C-3PO throughout that whole movie has like this thing on his chest, and something's like bleeding out of his oil
from all the battles
and there's
stuff
like
that
nobody's wearing pristine, neat clothes except for maybe the Darth Vader, but everyone else is like dirty. It's grimy. That's some of the best parts of that because that was the first introduction to a world where you were like, oh, this is sci-fi, but you know what? It feels lived in.
You know what sucks is that talking about C3, and I'm not going to get into it.
Yep.
Talking about C3PO and R2-D2.
Yep.
I'm really pissed that we didn't mention that I think my favorite part of Episode 3 is when R2-D2 beats the shit out of that other android by like lighting him on fire and shit.
Oh, in the beginning.
Yeah.
He just fucking zaps him.
That was a pretty cool scene.
Like that's like one of the best scenes for me.
Great. And this is where, since we're on Star Wars and the Clone Wars, if anybody hasn't watched that and is a fan of Star Wars, you're missing out because like that's where you'll see R2-D2 does a lot of scenes like that where he fights like these other mechs and you're like, how does he do this? It's a freaking tin can, but everything he pulls out of his body's like, where does that come from?
Yeah,
you know, I love that the little mech droid.
Yeah,
but so we'll move on.
Okay, so we're on to episode 2.
5.
Episode 5. Yeah. So for me, and I want to, if it's okay for me, This is my number one.
This is my
number one because for me, I love Empire Strikes Back.
Number 2.
First, it's the first time that you see Darth Vader very closely without his mask, and I remember
only
as
get
a
a hint.
kid. And I remember as a kid, I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, what happened?"
Oh my god! I was like, "What
is that?"
Yeah, and I remember really being intrigued
that scene gave
with
you
his story.
chills.
Yeah,
when
it
you were
really
a kid,
did.
Like, ooh,
when you see it,
I want to see that. Yeah, and then I love the noise it makes. Like,
I loved that. That was my favorite scene when I was a kid. I used to always, and I couldn't remember which episode it was, so I was always like, "Oh my god, which one it was?"
Man, that's a great scene.
And my favorite
that whole thing is so good though, like beginning to end.
And I feel that my favorite scene is when Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader have their lightsaber battle, and he finds out that he is who he is.
That's just a classic piece of iconic. That's
such an iconic piece of American film that nobody will. Everybody for the entire rest of time will be going.
I am your father.
That's
impossible. I love the way he says it too. He's like. He's such a crybaby.
After he's already got his hand cut off.
Can we just talk about? Have you ever seen Thumb Wars?
I have seen Thumb Wars. Actually, it's been a long time though.
Oh yeah, I guess it's
such a great series though.
My name is Ooby-Doob Banooby. I have the silliest name in the universe. What is your real name? Scooby-Dooby. Ooby-Doob Scooby-Dooby Banooby. One and the same, and you must be the crybaby. Oh my god, I love that.
That's a great one. Spaceballs, by the way. We probably should hit that.
We'll
hit that at the end.
Yeah.
We'll hit the space. We'll
all right, so I don't really have a bad thing for what that. Does anybody have a bad scene for episode 5?
From episode 5.
Anybody?
What do you think?
I'm actually debating on switching between 3 and 5 for 1 and 2
because 5 is amazing.
It's almost really
the best
flawless.
one. Really,
it's
like I love the beginning when they have like the whole ice. When they have the battle in the snow, amazing. The whole thing is just great.
Everything about it is just like it's good. It's gold.
Yeah.
There's no like
I'm trying to think. I really can't think of anything in that movie that I really
okay, so let's move on to episode 3. I mean episode 6. I'm sorry, the last episode.
The last episode.
Anybody so far?
Gotcha. Episode 6. So best and worst. Best scene probably the fight with the Emperor. I noticed how, by the way, for most of our scenes, best scenes, we're always choosing lightsaber fights.
Because lightsaber fights are fucking
because that's the best part. Do we have a worst part? Do you? Okay,
yeah,
let me ask you about.
I really do.
You do. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No question. I do not like the Ewoks.
I was just about to ask. I'm not even joking.
It's not like I don't mind the battle. I think the battle was kind of neat because you got stormtroopers and then you can kind of see how they beat them with sticks and stones. Even though it doesn't make fucking sense. You can see it happen. So you're like, okay, that's cool. But just that whole thing when like they're in the tribe and like that whole like middle part of this movie where they're all living in the Ewok village and they're kind of learning. It's like, oh god, no, I'm good.
I felt like there was I think that the Ewoks were.
I think that in that scene, it's out of the Family Guy parody, but. As Peter Griffin, as Han Solo, it says, so, they're a primitive culture that has no idea how to bathe or feed themselves, but yet they know the finer treatments of cosmetology? And Lois is like, yeah, I know, it's not as good as Empire.
Okay, I have a question. Well, for me, not even so much a question. I think that the Ewoks were a great addition, because I thought they were really cute, I thought they were really awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think that, first of all, they were too close to being Chewbacca, in a way that they were bears. Just like he kind of was.
They're basically mini bears.
Yeah. And I think that they put too much story.
Chewbacca was a dog.
With them.
Based off of like a pet dog.
Yeah. But I felt like that they had too much. I felt they had too much airtime. Too much airtime. Just like they did with Jar Jar Binks, I think that they had too much airtime. I think that Jar Jar Binks would have been. I think, in truthful, if you went into episode 1 and Jar Jar Binks only had like a 5-minute scene, you would be like, you know what, that was funny.
That was a decent.
That was all right. Yeah. There was too much of Jar Jar Binks in number 1.
But I think that there was too much of that.
When
too
you
much of
drown something in the character, it's too much. Yeah.
I think that there was too much of the kid stuff. Yeah. But other than that, I think that the movie as a whole was really good. I would put it as my number 4.
Actually, 4 is where I'd put it.
Yeah.
I'll give it 3 or 4 definitely. Between the two.
Okay. So now we're gonna get so we're gonna run down the structure really quick. Okay, for me,
worst movie, worst to best.
Okay, worst episode 1.
Yep.
Then I forget.
I think you were 3.
Number 5.
I think it was 3.
Yep.
Then then 6. You guys have to help me out because I'm.
You did 3.
You're on
6.
number 3, no, so your number 3 at this point would have to be 4 because
4.
number 2 for you is Clone Wars.
Yep.
Or it's the episode 2.
Yep. Number 4.
Number 1 is Empire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys got it. All right, you guys know what
I like how I got it before you did. It's
I
your
just
favorite list.
I can't do.
So
I had to write it down.
All right,
mine would go worst to best. Would be 1, 2, 6, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Yep.
Worst to best would, I think we're all unanimous on 1 being the worst. 5, I'm going to go, 5 would be probably episode 4.
Yep.
3...
Disagree so much on that.
I know you do. 3, well, what am I, no, 4, I'm on 4 now. 4 would have to be Clone Wars, and
That's
then,
episode 2.
well, the 3rd in the, or the
Yep.
4th, so 6,
It's
5, 4,
called
so,
the Clone Wars
alright, so 1, so worst is 1, second worst is 4, third worst would be 2, fourth one, I would go with Jedi, and then Empire, and then Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. All right. So we've actually gotten everything. Now I'm going to actually move our next topic to the second part. To
do you
part
want to
2.
talk about Spaceballs a little bit?
Just want to hit up on Spaceballs.
Okay, let's hit up on it real
Here's
quick.
what I want to say about Spaceballs. Where the f*** is Rick Moranis nowadays? I'm good after that. I miss him.
All right. So, anyways, we are actually...
Here she gives great helmet.
Oh my god! See my point exactly. I freaking miss
All
that
right.
guy.
So, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We have part 2 coming up, and actually, for us, 2 seconds. For you, it's coming out next week, which is actually the week of Christmas.
It's gonna be worth it.
It will be worth it. You will love it.
Worth it.
So, don't forget to email us at chadamfilms@gmail.com. That is actually spelled chadanmfilms@gmail.com, not actually Chad A-M-N. I know that that's spelled wrong and pronounced wrong, but it's chadamfilms@gmail.com, chadanmfilms at
Chadam! Slap! We'll buy it!
films@gmail.com. Please email us with any kind of questions. Also, like our Facebook page. We will put a link down on our description.
Geek Weekly, like it?
Yes. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in for part 2, which we are filming in about 5 minutes. Very exciting. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Oh, and just really quickly, just wanted to let you know that next week, for you guys next week, and right now, we're going to be talking about the death and return of Brian Griffin from The Family Guy. We will also be talking about our favorite new games that are coming out, and we'll also be talking about Walking Dead and what's coming up, hopefully, in the next half of the 4th season.
4th season.
Yes, very exciting. All right, thank you so much, and Joey will actually be returning for next week. Very exciting.
Very
There he is.
exciting. Hey, Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.